Fellow citizens, at this time each year we observe Pesticides Week. And this year we observe the week under the theme Increase Food Safety, Reduce Dependency on Pesticides, and Adapt Integrated Pest Management Approach. Food safety covers the handling, preparation, and storage of food in ways that prevent foodborne illnesses. This, of course, includes a number of routines that should be followed to avoid potential health hazards. In this way, food safety often overlaps with food defense to prevent harm to consumers. The safety and well-being of the consumer is government's utmost responsibility and goal in our quest to achieve food and nutrition security. One area of concern often raised around the world is the use and the presence of pesticides along the food value chain. The first production of pesticides has been traced to India in 1952, and the term pesticides covers a wide range of compounds including insecticides, fungicides, herbicides, rodenticides, plant growth regulators, and others. Ideally, a pesticide must be lethal to the targeted pests, but not to the non-targeted species, including humans. Unfortunately, this is not always the case, so the controversy of the use and abuse of pesticides has surfaced time and time again. The rampant use of these chemicals, under the notion if little is good, a lot more will be better, has played havoc with human and other life forms. The increased use of pesticides is attributed to the tremendous benefits derived from their use in public health, the domestic sphere, and of course in agriculture. There is no doubt that outputs and productivity have increased dramatically in most countries, for example, in wheat yields in the United Kingdom and corn yields in the United States. These increases in productivity are attributable to several factors, including the use of fertilizer, growing better varieties, and mechanization, technological and otherwise. Pesticides have been an integral part of the process of reducing crop losses from weed strangulation, diseases, insects, and pests that can evidently reduce the amount of harvestable produce. Some authorities on the subject argue that considerable economic losses will be suffered without the use of pesticides. Vector-borne diseases such as Zika, chikungunya, leptospirosis, among others, are most effectively tackled by killing the vectors, and there is no doubt that the use of insecticides is often the most practical way to control the insects that spread these deadly diseases. Surely, we have seen that the credits of pesticides include enhanced economic potential in terms of increased production of food and fiber, and amelioration of vector-borne diseases. However, the increased use and in some cases misuse have resulted in serious health implications to man and his environment. There is now overwhelming evidence that some of these chemicals do pose a potential risk to humans and others and other life forms, and also unwarranted damage to the environment. For example, pesticides are now found as common contaminants in soil, air, water, and on non-targeted organisms in our rural and urban areas. Once there, they can harm plants, they can harm animals, ranging from the beneficial soil microorganisms, including insects as well, non-targeted plants, fish, birds, and other wildlife. No segment of the population is completely protected against exposure to pesticides and the potential serious health effects. A United Nations report in 2017 showed There's an average of about 200,000 people die from the toxic exposure to pesticides each year across the world. The high-risk groups include householders, those who spray, mixers, and those who work on the agricultural farms. The Food and Agricultural Organization reports that St. Kitts and Nevis showed an average pesticide application per unit of cropland in 2000 was as high as 3.65 kilograms per hectare. But since that, in 2014, application rates have decreased considerably to 0.31 kilograms per hectare. Of course, with a slight tendency to increase from time to time. There is a need to convey the message that prevention of adverse health and environmental effects due to pesticides and promotion of health, proper pesticide use are profitable instruments for all members of society as a support mechanism for our sustainable development. The government is committed to ensuring that the adequate support is given to issues relating to pesticides availability and use by the various stakeholders. We will continue to educate our communities via the various public and private entities in health, agriculture, commerce, etc., on the adequate use of pesticides. This Pesticide Awareness Week highlights our efforts as we seek to increase food safety, as we seek to reduce dependency on pesticides and adopt an integrated pest management approach. We recognize that in an effort to properly reduce the existing pest burden, an integrated management approach is needed. Integrated pest management is an effective and environmentally sensitive approach to pest management. It is not a single pest control method, but rather a series of pest management evaluations, decisions, and controls. Already, significant steps have been taken to address food safety with respect to pesticide contamination, and I am pleased to report that the Vegetable, Fruit and Upland Crop Quality and Safety Improvement Project, which is a partnership between the government of St. Kitts and Nevis and the government of the Republic of China and Taiwan, saw the establishment of a soil facility analysis and pesticide residue detection lab, the first of its kind in the region. As a result of that lab, our soils are tested, the food is tested, and farmers, once they pass the pesticide residue test, receive a license that can be shown to their customers, certifying that their produce are safe for consumption by humans. They also receive safety labels that can be placed either on the packaging or on the product itself. The importation and distribution of pesticides is regulated, of course, by the Pesticides Board, which evaluates and issues the necessary licenses. One effective way to reduce risks posed by pesticides is to use non-chemical control methods to reduce or eliminate pest problems. For example, around the home, such measures include removing sources of food and water, such as leaky pipes, and destroying pest shelters and breeding sites, such as garbage and plant debris. My advice is, when using pesticides, always read the label first and follow the directions to the letter, including all precautions and restrictions. Don't use products for pests that are not indicated on the label. Don't use pesticides other than directed by the label. Use protective measures when handling pesticides as directed by the label, such as wearing impermeable gloves, long pants, long sleeve shirts, change your clothes and wash your hands immediately after applying such pesticides. Before applying a pesticide, remove children, toys, and pets from the area and keep them away until the pesticide has dried or as recommended by the label. Remove or cover food during indoor applications. Don't spray outdoors on windy or rainy days. Take precaution to keep the pesticide from drifting or running off into the vegetable garden or into your neighbor's yard. Use the appropriate equipment to apply pesticides. Don't buy more pesticides than you will need. Be wise. Ensure the proper use of pesticides each and every day of your lives. Thank you.
Stay up to date with news, programs, and activities of the government with SKNIS. Like us on Facebook. Listen to us on SoundCloud. Follow us on Twitter. And watch our videos on YouTube. Connect with us today. SKNIS, St. Kitts and Nevis Information Service.